Welcome back to part 2 of What If Deku Was Nightmare Sans. Where we left off last was after the USJ attack. So now this is the 2 months of training, or the 2 weeks off after the attack, and Deku and his group are sitting in the cabin that they own in the woods, and they're just watching TV. As 2 weeks go by, Deku's been training his group. I still really haven't gotten a ship for this, so I don't know who to bond him with. I did put Todoroki in the group. Could be a female. If you want, I can put the female Todoroki in this. There's Uraka and Toga in this as well. They're villains, so your choice. Deku, being super tired, decides to go and rest as the UA Sports Festival was going on TV, and everyone besides Deku was watching it. Deku just sitting in the back as he's taking a nap. After about 3 or 4 hours, he wakes up and thinks and says, "We need to expand." As he walks into the next room, everyone looking at him says, "Hey boss," or "Hey Izuku," or "Hey whatever you want to call him." He says, yeah, whatever. "Now, I have a question for you guys. Where do you guys want our new base to be at?" They all think, and they say, "Somewhere underground in the city. If we do so there, easier for us to do attacks, and less stamina drain on you, boss." Deku agrees and says, "Fine. Grab onto me, and I found a place already. Now, let's go." Deku grabs them all with their tentacles, and if they're grabbing him, he just warps into a little ball of this goop and just flies into the air through the roof. Then they just appear inside of a abandoned, what looks to be warehouse. But in reality it's an underground bunker, a nuclear shelter that's been abandoned but still in pristine condition, so they take that as their base. As Deku is looking for the best room that he can keep, he found his room and he stays there. Deku then talks to everyone to make plans. During this time, we cut to Bakugo, Deku's brother, and Kirishima, as they're in the hospital resting up. And they start internships. Deku's group already has, not Deku, the League of Villains tried to get the hero killer on their side, or the hero killer on their side. He said no, of course, and rejected him and left. So the host who attacked us happened, but this time instead of the hero killer in the alleyway, it's Deku and the hero killer. As Deku reaches out his hand, as Bakugo, Kirishima, and Dream round the corner to see this, the hero killer shakes his hand as he warps away to their base. As Deku's standing there above Native and Ida, and him shrugging his shoulders and saying, "Welcome back, brother. Welcome, Kirishima and Bakugo. Looks like we've met for a round 2. Let's see how strong you've gotten since our last encounter." As Deku would reach out his tentacles, going towards them, Dream would take his hands in the shape of where they would hold guns, and 2 guns made out of positivity would appear, shooting towards Deku, 2 holes going right through him. As his hands reach down and touch those holes, as they aren't forming back, as he says, "Interesting, so you figured out how to manipulate positivity, brother. Now, let's see how long that'll last you against me, the form and the being made of negativity." and living negativity itself. As then he points to Bakugo and says, "This is your nightmare, Bakugo, Katsuki." And then he moves his finger over to his brother and says, "You as well, my brother Dream." As several more tentacles come out of his back, rushing towards Kirishima, Bakugo, and his brother Dream. They would all cut up the tentacles and blow them up and destroy him with their quirks and abilities. Deku getting annoyed as the liquid would fly towards him, healing him up and fixing the holes. Deku getting annoyed would just warp away, but before he does, he stabs Native through the heart with one of his tentacles, as well as stabbing Ida through the heart. Bakugo, Kirishima, and Dream falling to their knees, crying, saying that we failed. We failed this guy. We failed this hero, and we failed Ida, our friend. Deku teleporting back in, with blood covering his tentacles. Toga running over and vialing up the blood, then rushes to her room to drink it up, or to keep it in his stash, just in case. Deku walking over to where his room would be, to find that they've invaded his room, essentially. Uraraka, Todoroki, and Dabi are sitting in his room. For some reason, they're sitting on his bed, playing Uno. Don't question it. It's just something I thought of. As Deku walks in, he sees him in there. He wraps him up in the tentacles, asks what they're doing, as he would look down to see Uno cards, as he would set him down and says, "If you want to play Uno, take it into the next room. Maybe you can get our new member to join in on your little game of Uno." As they would ask who's the new member, Deku would say, "The hero killer Stain." They would all rush in there to see him and to ask him to play Uno. Deku walking over to his bed, face planting in, and just taking a nap. After the attack on Hosu City, we get to the final exams, and we're in Dream and Bakugo and Kirishima's point of view now. They're taking their final exams, and I know I'm time skipping a lot of this, but don't worry, I have an idea. During their finals, Deku has an idea to see what the heroes in training are doing. So he warps into the training city where All Might, Bakugo, and Dream are, and he's facing Dream and Bakugo as he waves to him and says, "Greetings, brother. Greetings, Bakugo. I've come to see how your training is done." As he looks around to see this giant destroyed city and this crater underneath him, and he looks down at it and touches the crater, and to see this is real, as he says, "Ah, so All Might's here too. He must be training you guys." As he turns around to see All Might rush at him and punches him in the face, his hand going through him as All Might falls to the ground on the other side. Deku wrapping him up with his tentacles on all limbs around his neck, his neck, arms, and legs. As he moves him and shifts him in front of him as he says, "You're not allowed to hit me, All Might." As Deku proceeds to rip All Might's arms and legs off, leaving just his head, and throws his arms and legs to the side. As Deku says, "Now, I want you to tell me something, All Might, and maybe I can help you. If not, well," as the tentacle rushes right to him, it stops right in front of his heart and says, "Now, tell me, All Might, what are your future plans? Who's your successor?" All Might's taken aback at this because he doesn't know what to do. He's never said anything about his successor yet. Which his successor is... I'm gonna say it's Bakugo. If I've already said it's Mirio, scratch it, it's Bakugo. All Might nervously says, what are you talking about, young man? I don't know what you, as a new tentacle, a small one, would shoot out and pierce right into All Might's injury, going clean through it. All Might shouting in pain. As he pulls it out, All Might says, fine, I'll tell you what you want, just leave the students alone, and please spare me. Deku says, fine. Well, who's the successor? And what are your plans? All Might tells him about the training camp, as well as who the successor is. Deku says, perfect. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? All Might says, no, that wasn't. Thank you for, as Deku stabs him clean through the chest with a giant tentacle. And says, well, I would have kept you alive if you would have spared me the details of the entire trilogy of that quirk. I didn't want to hear it, as he says in an angry voice and his mouth deformed. All the teachers are shocked and saddened to see that this kid just killed All Might in mere seconds. All the teachers, and they call a lot of pro heroes to rush down there to attack Deku. But Deku looks at the camera, teleports in front of it, grabs the camera, and teleports back to the ground, and says, hello other teachers. Nezu stops the teachers before they run out and make other calls, tells them to look at the screen. As they say, now, I know you're watching this, Nezu. As I want to say to you, this is my prey. As he points the camera towards his brother, Bakugo. And Kirishima would just magically teleport in there. And says, these three are my enemies. You're never allowed to teach them or talk to them again. As Deku would proceed to teleport right in front of him and says, dream. You are gonna train these two, make them stronger. I want to have a nice fight. I want to have entertainment. Show my crew some entertainment, will you useless brother? Bakugo would rush at him with full cowling at 20%, throw a punch at Deku. His fist goes right through him as he falls on the ground. His fist hitting the ground as a giant crater opens up. Deku picking up Bakugo with one of his tentacles, throwing him towards the entrance of the gate to the city, saying, now, I want you to practice harder. I'll be back to visit you at your training camp. Heroes in training. I'll see you next time, brother. As he warps away, leaving the camera behind. And this is where I'm going to stop it, part 2. I know I skipped ahead a lot, but I want to make this interesting, so if you guys haven't watched the Underverse series, it's pretty much a series of the X events, and I'm going to make an event like that, but it's not multiverse scale yet, so anyways, this is where I'm going to leave it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Next video might be Kaioken or something else. Either way, hope you guys enjoy. See you guys in the next video. Peace.